Okay, so here is our PowerPoint on viruses, and then we will go over viruses on this review sheet and just see what all was on here and what all we need to know for like any STAR question they throw at us. So first off, what is a virus? So let's talk about what viruses are versus bacteria, prokaryotes, and eukaryotes. So first off, first thing we learned about there were prokaryotes. Pro, no nucleus. These are simple organisms. Pro, no nucleus. It does have DNA, but it does not have a nucleus. This is bacteria. Then they evolved into eukaryotes, like an egg. So remember, the egg has a center yolk. That yolk is going to symbolize the nucleus, anything with inner membranes. The nucleus is the first organelle you'll see. Then you'll see Golgi, mitochondria, chloroplast, vacuole, lysosome, okay? Now, those are all alive, okay? Animal cells are alive, plant cells are alive, bacteria are alive. We're going to learn viruses are not alive. Viruses do have some similarities, but they're not the same. So, ready? Do viruses fulfill the characteristics of life? No. Why? Viruses cannot reproduce on their own. Okay, bacteria, believe it or not, a bacteria will grow, duplicate everything, and fizz out. It's called binary fission, okay? We go through mitosis. We'll learn about that, and meiosis. Viruses can't do it on their own. They need a host. Bacteria don't need a host. Eukaryote plant animals don't need a host. If it needs a host, it is not truly alive. It is a virus. Okay. Viruses cannot metabolize energy. Okay, everything that's alive needs energy. If you take energy away from animals, we die. Plants, they die. Bacteria, believe it or not, they will die. You need a form of energy. If you sneeze on a desk and there's your flu virus on the desk and you don't feed it, it don't die. It's alive and it's ready to latch on to the next host that touches it, okay? So, living things need energy, viruses do not. Last thing, viruses are considered not living, aka dead, even though they have some kind of DNA or RNA, which is a nucleic acid, they are not alive. So, look up here. The thing that all viruses have in common with us is we all have some kind of DNA inside of us, but nothing else is the same. Okay, so what do they look like? Come on. Oh, it understands the escape button. Okay, y'all, so if I need to go through like this, it is what it is. Okay, up here, this is the size difference. This is why if we wear masks, that's great. It really keeps us from touching our mouth and our eyes and all the stuff. But y'all, we'll never see viruses. They are too small. They can penetrate any kind of mask we wear. Okay, eukaryotes are 100 times bigger than silly bacteria prokaryotes, and prokaryotes are still 100 times bigger than a virus. We will never be able to see viruses. We can see bacteria under the microscope. We're going to see bacteria under the microscope, but we can never see viruses. Okay, you would need an electron microscope or something like that's at Texas A&M or Harvard, okay? Oh, now we're working. Okay, so look up here. Just like in your worksheet where y'all had, do you still have your worksheet? You turned it in?
Yeah, it's in.
Okay, just like the Amoeba Sister worksheet that we did after the first time I lectured, a virus is only two things. We could literally just color it two things. The nucleic acid in the inside and the protein capsid shell. Say the word capsid.
Capsid.
It's like a capsule, okay? This one kind of looks like a capsule. This one looks like a creepy computer with legs. Like, I'm not gonna lie, this is scary looking. But this is just built from the biomolecule protein. This is built from the biomolecule protein, and then you have nucleic acid DNA, nucleic acid DNA. So we are built from all 4 biomolecules. They're only built from 2, okay? We've got nucleus, ribosome, ZR, Golgi, vacuole, all the stuff. They only have nucleic acid and a protein capsid. Okay, draw these 2 types of viruses in your notebook. So we are going to do that next class. Okay, so let's talk about viruses versus cellular life, so living cells. We both have genetic material, but viruses need a host. We don't need a host. We can replicate. They never have organelles. We always have organelles, okay? They never need energy. We need energy. Why don't they need energy? Whose energy do they use?
Ours.
The energy of the host. Ours. Good job. Okay, now there's 2 ways that they replicate. Viruses need a host. The goal. Okay, so there's the lytic and the lysogenic. So let's talk about how to remember the cycles. Okay. Okay, so Stockton, you were in here. I told them this. You see lytic lit match. If you light a match, that happens right away. So if you get infected by a virus in the lytic cycle, you get sick right away. You get the flu. You get the stomach bug. Okay? You get it, but then you get over it, right? Okay? So, we'll do a picture. Here's the picture. Okay? The virus attaches. It injects its viral DNA. The host replicates it. It assembles within the cell, bursts out. Y'all, what do you think happens to the cell when it releases?
It breaks.
It breaks and your cell dies. Okay? So if this happens a lot, you have a lot of cellular death. Okay? Up here. Julian, up here. Next one. Okay, we had the lytic cycle. Lit, match, fast. Lysogenic. Isn't that the longest word ever? This is the longer, sneakier cycle. Why is it long and sneaky?
Because it can go from anywhere, right?
Yes. So the host attached injects its genetic material, but check this creepy cycle out. Oop. Okay? It replicates more and more and more, but y'all, are they assembling and busting out, or are they just sneaking their DNA inside? It's sneaking DNA inside of millions and millions of cells, and anytime it could then become lytic and burst out. So when you have AIDS, HIV, herpes, you have what are called outbreaks, okay? So what that happens is inside of your body, especially if it's a retrovirus. Remember on that sheet it said, what is a retrovirus? That's a virus that injects its DNA and you will have it forever. Remember, AIDS, HIV, herpes, forever viruses. Also, if you have the chickenpox, you only have it once, right? Because it's forever in you, okay? So what's happening is all your cells have this sneaky viral DNA in it, and now it's all gonna bust out at the same time. That's why people who have AIDS or HIV or herpes have what are called outbreaks, and their face gets infested with cold sores. There's oral herpes, there's genital herpes, and then there's AIDS and HIV, and you could tell when somebody who has AIDS and HIV has an outbreak because they'll have like a bunch of black and blues all over their body where they have outbreaks of their lysogenic cycle turn lytic, and all of a sudden all of them are busting out. So when you get tested on this, if they're asking you about something like cold, flu, diarrhea, allergy, stomach bug, that's all lytic viruses. But the longer incubated ones, those are the lysogenic ones, okay? And I think we're actually almost all done. If I can. Okay, so real quickly, remember, Some viral infections are incurable, so you have to be very careful, okay? AIDS, which is acquired immune deficiency. HIV, which is the precursor to AIDS, they are incurable. Also, on your Amoeba Sister video, y'all, your primary illness is the illness you got first. What is the secondary illness?
The illness that can kill you if you have cancer.
Good. The second illness you get. So y'all, if we all have nothing wrong with us and we get the flu's our primary illness, our body can tackle it. Okay, we're not gonna die of a primary illness when we're healthy. But if our primary illness is AIDS and HIV, and our body keeps on fighting AIDS and HIV, then our secondary illness is the flu. Can we fight the flu?
No.
So it'll turn into pneumonia, a third illness, and then you'll die. So what they're saying is okay, first illness is your primary, second illness is your secondary. People who have forever viruses, they always have a primary virus.
What about herpes?
Yeah, you're always fighting herpes.
I had to ask.
But remember, it could always remain dormant if you're taking care of yourself. Doesn't Magic Johnson have AIDS and HIV and he's been living with it for like decades? The basketball player?
Yeah.
I could be on it.
Okay, so real quickly before we go, let's talk about what is on this cheat sheet. Capsid is the protein code. Nucleic acid core, it should say the inside. I don't love this, but that's fine. So it should say viruses are made up of two things: inner nucleic acid, outside protein capsid. So a good question would be, what two biomolecules make up a virus? Protein nucleic acids. Surface marker proteins for attachment. So what they're saying is, look up here, viruses have to attach. So if I would go all the way up to, let's go computer. If we would go all the way up to the pictures, these pictures right here, something on the outside would have to be used for attachment, okay? Compared to cells, both have DNA, both can mutate. Viruses do not replicate, they need a host. Awesome, we just learned that. They do not have organelles. They do not metabolize, and it should say, or use energy. Okay, how do viruses spread? Well, first of all, somebody has to have the virus, and it's achoo all over that desk before you walk in. You touch it. You touch your mouth, your nose, your eyeballs, whatever. It gets inside of you. It attaches to that cell. It'll penetrate through, injecting its DNA. The host cell will replicate and synthesize more viruses. If it's lytic, it'll be a quick explosion and release. You'll get sick quick, you'll get over it quick. But if it's lysogenic, it'll replicate and it'll incubate, and then it might all come out later, maybe weeks or months or maybe even a year later. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna post this to Google Classroom.